Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody and thank you for coming. First thing I'd like to do is introduce myself. I'm J.P. Shirkus. I'm current president of Dunkirk Area Concerned Citizens Association. And the first thing I'd like to do, please rise. We'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I want to welcome the candidates who have given up of their time. I know how busy it is. We have the at-large candidates in alphabetical order: Myra Gowans, Buddy Hance, Paul Harrison, Todd Ireland, Chelsea Montague, and we did not get a response from Mr. D-Days. From District 1, Patrick Flaherty had to cancel because of unforeseen circumstances. Mike Hart, Steve Jones, Tricia Powell. For District 2, Mark Cox, Chris Gadway, and David Gray had to withdraw because he's a federal employee. District 3, we have Catherine Grasso, Kelly McConkey, Daryl Roberts, and Evan Terzansky. Okay. I have some guidelines here, please. Each candidate will have 2 minutes, and we're going to be timing, to introduce themselves, where they're running from, why they're running, and why you should vote for them. All other questions will be short, we hope. You'll have 1 minute to answer those questions. Our timer will give you a 15-second warning towards the end of your time. You really need to be aware of the timekeeper. She has the sign. That means it'll be time to wrap up your answer. I have some guidelines for the audience. Please save your applause to the end of the program. I know there are a lot of issues that may bring out strong feelings. Please do not try to show them. Give our candidates the courtesy of being able to answer the questions fully. Give them their time, okay? Please don't show applause or negative, shall we say, approval. All right, candidates, you have your campaign material if you have any with you, and you dropped it off in the back of the room. Please take it with you when you leave. Since we are limited to the number of questions by the number of candidates, as you can see, we got 15 people here. Are you willing to answer additional questions if we should send them to you by email? We have all your contact information. The reason I'm asking that is because we have so many questions came in from residents all over the county, a lot of which came from the north end of the county. That's why we're doing this. So we're going to send out those questions. Please try to give them a reasonable answer, get them back to us, and we'll get the word out. At the end, close to 9 o'clock, or as close as we can to 9 o'clock, you'll have 1 minute to do a closing statement. Any questions? Now we're going to start at that end. So Myra, you're going to get the first chance to answer, and we're going to come right down the line. Question number 2 starts with Mike Hart, because we're going to move up 1 to District 1. The third question will start with District 2, and the next question will go to District 3, then we'll go back. So everybody's not, Myra, you don't have to answer the first question every single time. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay. Please try to enunciate. And also, ladies and gentlemen, we've been passing out slips. If you can think up a question during the program that you want answered, we have good Frank Grasso is going to be picking up those questions and taking them to our people who will be vetting those questions, and if we have time, we'll try to get them out to everybody. Now, I said I'm the president of DACA. We have the secretary, Phyllis Shurkis. She's in there in a pink shirt. We have Len Nail. He is our vice president. We have Joe Kremelmeyer. He's our treasurer. We have Frank Grasso. He's a member of the board here tonight. We also have Anita, who's not here. She's babysitting her grandchildren. But we are looking, DACA, to find 2 more members for our board of directors. So if anybody's interested in coming on and trying to help us out, we're all volunteers, but we're looking for 2 more members for our board. And without further ado, we're going to start with Myra. 2 minutes, please.
I got it, I'm sure. Okay. I'm Myra Gowans. I've lived in the county for 50 years. I'm the founder of Calvert Citizens United, and it's the group that is formally suing our local Board of County Commissioners. They don't really. I hate being right here when you're suing someone, but we are the ones that are combining our efforts and our strengths to be able to remand the Calvert County Comprehensive Plan back to the new Board of County Commissioners. We are going to be in the Supreme Court of Maryland is going to hear our case, and that will be September 12th in Annapolis. And the Supreme Court of Maryland is known as COA, Court of Appeals. And they only take 10 to maybe 12% of the cases, all the cases that are approached and by a writ of certiorari, and they have accepted our case, which is very, very strengthening for our county, because we have to have a mechanism where the comp plan can be remanded back to the commissioners for them to do certain things to protect the smallest county in Maryland and the 6th smallest county in the United States. That's where you live, in the 6th smallest county in the United States. And it's surrounded, as you know, by our bay and river, and those entities, the bay and the river could feed the world population. Our bay is 64,000 square miles. So I'm here tonight to try to give you some education and update you about what's going on and what you need to know. Thank you.
So I'm Buddy Hance. I live in Port Republic down on the southern end of the county, and I'm a farmer. The farm I live on, my family purchased in 1905, so we've been there almost 120 years. I'm a 4th generation farmer. That's what I do for a living. I'm currently on the Board of County Commissioners. I serve as president. When I ran 3.5 years ago, I said I was there running to protect the quality of life in Calvert County and to reduce growth. You know, the issue that we have in Calvert County is we grew exceedingly fast in the 80s and 90s, and the issue that we have today is we still haven't caught our infrastructure up to the growth that we did in that time period. So I've worked to increase funding to schools since I've been there. I voted against the town center expansions. I voted against the comprehensive plan. I scrutinize every request for new funding, for new initiatives in the budget, and I work to increase revenues as best I can. So I ask for your vote again this coming primary season. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi there. I don't know if this is going to reach me. Hello? Thank you. I'm Paul Harrison. You can read more about me at paulforcalvert.info. I moved here for a beautiful county, and things are challenged. Okay? Every surrounding county has gone through this same phase of development. Prince George's, Charles, they were all rural counties. And they've all faced the challenge that we're facing in development. Okay? So we need to make sure that we don't turn into those areas that have become less desirable. My wife and I moved here to raise our family. We have 3 kids, all in public schools. 1 just graduated. I would like those kids to be able to come back and live here comfortably. Okay? I don't want them to live in a 1,000-unit apartment complex. okay? I'd like them to live in a single-family home, all right? And we're not building too many single-family homes. It's too difficult, okay? That's what we need to work on, okay? I've lived here for 20 years. I moved here because it's a jewel. Calvert's beautiful. I think you'll all agree. And I'd like to keep it beautiful. My name, Paul Harrison. I'd appreciate your vote, July 19th. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Todd Ireland. I'm a lifelong citizen of Calvert County. I live on my family farm in Huntingtown on Wilson Road, where I've spent the majority of my younger age working on family's tobacco farm and working on the water on a charter boat, crabbing, fishing. I spent the last 28 years serving the citizens of Calvert County as a deputy sheriff and as a correctional officer. I had a very rewarding career. I was able to attend numerous leadership schools. I retired December 18th, 2021. I was able to receive numerous awards, citations, and proclamations during my career. One of the best things that I enjoyed during my career was helping people solve their problems. No matter how small or complex their problems may have been, they were those people's problems. And most people don't call the police because they're having a good day. Most of them call them because they're having a bad day. And again, those problems and being able to help them solve their problems was extremely rewarding. Again, I spent 28 years serving citizens in this county. I had a great career, and I look forward to being able to serve the citizens of this county as your next county commissioner. My platform, what I'm running on, is smart growth, public safety, our education system. And you know, there's been a lot of problems there recently. I think we need to forge a relationship with the Board of Education so that we have more of a say, so that parents have more of a say on the curriculum that their students are taught. And our environment's extremely important to me as well because, like I said, I was born and raised around the Chesapeake Bay, Tuxet River, and I still crab on the water. I went crabbing 2 days ago, and I plan on going tomorrow morning as well. And one of the things, the last couple of times I've been out there, it has been very rewarding and very positive, is the clarity of the Chesapeake Bay. For whatever reason, the water's been clear the last few times I've been out there. Please vote July 19th. I'd appreciate your support as your next county commissioner. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Chelsea Montague. I'm running for at-large. Thank you, Mike. I have no prior political experience. I am a mother of 3 children, ages 7 and under, 2 of whom have special needs. My experience comes in the world of harm reduction and working with the homeless. And my platform is based on affordable housing, because there really is a lack of that in this county, and increasing our tourism and agricultural opportunities so that we can bring in income without having to increase our infrastructure to allow for more people and just the people we already have here. My hope is that I can bring a fresh perspective to the board and empathy, which I feel in politics is lacking these days. And I hope to be able to work with different groups and bring people who normally wouldn't work together in the same room and figure out new ways and new perspectives of doing things. And I look forward to answering the questions tonight. Thank you.
Well, good evening, and thank you for having me, and thank you for everybody for putting this on. My name is Mike Hart. I grew up here. This is my home. I've been with my wife for 29 years. We have 2 children. And my kid said to me 8 years ago, "Dad, why? Why are you running? You work a lot now." I said, "Because this place is utopia. Gave me everything. I never dreamed as a child that I would have to be able to walk the rivers, the bays, the natural beauty we have. And I want to see it stay that way." And I said to my kids, "You need to have it this way. This is where I'm going to die. When my child just started her career here, this is where she's going to be. This is our home. And once you lose it, you don't get it back." And I've taken my business experience, and I've been a small businessman for a long time, to try to say, hey, how can we keep our taxes low? We've reduced them 3 times. When I talked to New York, they said, we went through all this COVID. How are you guys not raising taxes? You lowered them. And it sounds simple. We truly live within our means. President Hans can tell you, on the first board we sat down together, we set parameters what we were going to spend, what we were not going to spend. We put lines, what the CIP was going to be, and once it hit that, that was it. We took those practices, and sometimes you say no, and it's not easy, but it was important. And I promise you, I am going to do everything I can to protect every blade of grass in this place, to keep it the way when I was a child, the way we see it now. I don't want to see apartments. I don't want to see town centers built out. I think right now we have to try to catch up. We're behind on infrastructure. And my pledge to you, thank you, my pledge to you is to keep this the best county in the state of Maryland. Thank you.
I'm Steve Jones, running for Calvert County Commissioner District 1. I'm going to read a statement to you. My name's been slandered throughout this county. I'm going to read this statement. On October 29, 2019, at approximately 4:30 p.m., a young lady who was walking on Dares Beach Road was tragically killed by a motorist. The driver was an off-duty deputy who is no longer employed by the Sheriff's Office. I was off-duty at home and was contacted by both Sheriff Evans and Lieutenant Colonel Dave McDowell, who were at the scene, and advised me to go to the Sheriff's Office. I was advised of the death and that the deputy may have consumed alcohol. I was advised to take no action as the state police was handling the case. I followed orders given. I arrived at the office approximately an hour after this incident occurred. While at the office, the trooper in charge consulted the state's attorney's office and his commander. I was not privy to that conversation. The trooper in charge transported the deputy to the hospital for a blood test, and they returned sometime later. The District 1 Commissioner has stated that I was on the scene of this accident and that I gave orders. I gave no orders to anyone, nor was I on this scene. The District 1 Commissioner stated that I gave the deputy water. I did not, nor did I see anyone give him water, although I heard that that may have occurred. The District 1 Commissioner told at least one county employee, this is a leader of our county government, that I had blood on my hands from this case and that I was somehow responsible for this accident. None of these statements are true, and the District 1 Commissioner knows it. This was a tragic event for the family, the community, and all those who are involved. I am sure that some are still suffering. What I did do was I went to the affected personnel and I got them the appropriate help that they needed. So why am I being slandered by the District 1 Commissioner? Because I filed to run for District County Commissioner. He would rather talk about this case than his record or the new apartment complex that will be built directly next to his liquor store. Commissioner, you have single-handedly victimized this family yet again, and for what? Because you're afraid of losing an election. I'm Steve Jones. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, can I respond to that? That is low class. That is low class. There's a family out there. This is not the place for something low class like that.
That's exactly right.
So,
It's the truth.
so
That's
it is just
exactly
low
right.
class,
Please.
and there's no place for this. And
It's the truth, Commissioner.
okay, sure, as you see
Please.
it.
That's
Let
it.
us continue on, please.
And with that, I'm Tricia Powell, and I'm running for Calvert County Commissioner, District 1. I'm originally from Cheyenne, Wyoming, and I've been in the county for 25 years. I have a Master's of Business Administration, but more importantly, I have about 10 years experience working in county government. I've worked with planning and zoning, I've worked with public works, and I've worked with fire. I've done cost benefit studies, I've worked on capital improvement projects, and I've done budgets. And let's talk budgets. I know that the county budget for 2023 is good. I went through it. There are some positions that have been requested and look like they've gone through, and that's good because some of them are for first time or for our first responders. Also, the thing that I want to make sure I get through to you today is that it takes a commissioner not only to read the budget, but to be able to know what's behind that budget. For example, there were 2 positions that were added, which is going to cost you, the taxpayers, $100,000 a year. These positions were for the Police Accountability Board and for the Administrative Charging Board. My question is, these boards will only meet quarterly. Why are we bringing on 2 full-time positions? One is the management analyst and one is for a administrative assistant. Whether you vote for me or not, please get a commissioner in that understands the budget and isn't afraid to challenge the county with their numerous requests and amendments to the budget. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Chris Gadway. I live in Huntingtown. I am your Calvert County Commissioner for District 2. I'm a Christian, a proud husband, father, and grandfather, a U.S. Coast Guard veteran, past volunteer fireman in Huntingtown, local business owner and employer. In 2019, I saw a commissioner vote on an item that could have resulted in something that I didn't like. At that time, I made the decision to run for Calvert County Commissioner to undo what had been done. I volunteered for the Calvert County Republican Central Committee, served 2 years there, and when the sitting commissioner Hutchins resigned, I was unanimously nominated by the Central Committee and the delegates in order to fill that, or to Governor Hogan, who appointed me to fill the remainder of his term. In the past 10 short months, we've achieved a lot of things. We've approved the repeal of the zoning ordinances that allow for high-density residential development to move forward. This helps slow the growth of apartments and condominiums. I've approved a letter to the College of Southern Maryland opposing their vaccine mandates. I've approved a letter to the Calvert County Public Schools opposing their mask mandates. I've approved the start of the process of rolling back town centers in the comprehensive plan. This will help reduce the sprawl of high-density residential development and traffic. We've approved funding for our schools, teachers, and support staff. We've approved additional public safety measures to include additional funding for sheriffs, fire, and emergency medical services. We've approved the state's first joint public and school committee for the Maryland Required Kerwin Commission. And in closing, all of the above on a balanced budget without a single tax increase. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming out tonight. For those of you all who do not know me, I am Mark Cox, Republican candidate for County Commissioner, District 2. I'm a lifelong resident of Calvert County, born and raised on a farm in Huntingtown. I'm also a fourth-generation farmer. I am married to my lovely wife for 33 years. I have two children and I have 4 grandkids. I'm also a business owner for 40 years. This is a great opportunity for me to give back to my community. On my platform, public safety is number 1. Keeping our community safe is number 1 for me. Number 2 is schools. Keeping our schools safe and getting back to the core of education, number 2. So let's work to keep Calvert rural roots and a place that we can call home. So I would greatly appreciate your support and your vote in July. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Catherine Grasso. I'm a lifelong Republican, and I'm thanking DACA tonight for giving all of us the opportunity to speak to you, the citizens of Calvert County. I bet many of you don't know the mission statement for Calvert County employees. This mission statement includes all Calvert County commissioners, and I will read it to you. Be responsible and accountable to all citizens of Calvert County. Provide high quality, effective, and efficient services. Preserve Calvert County's environment, heritage, and rural character. Foster opportunities for responsible and sustainable residential growth and economic development, and support Calvert County's essential institutions and keep them strong. As you can see, we work for you, not for special interest, but for you. I pledge to you as your commissioner that I will adhere to this mission statement, and I will work for you, the citizens of Calvert County. I might also add, after Patricia's her time, I manage my agency's budget, And so I do have a budget background. I am part of the chamber. I have been head of the Central Committee, the Calvert County Republican Central Committee, a Board of Library Trustee, and and on the Hospital Ball Committee. I've been very involved in the community. Did not want to do this, never thought of this on my radar screen, but when I saw what was happening to our county, I've got to do it. So I appreciate your vote on July 19th. Thank you much.
Good evening. My name's Kelly McConkey. I am currently your District 3 County Commissioner. I previously served on the Board of Education for 6 years. I served on the United Way Committee. I'm the past president of the Optimist Club. I've been a Little League baseball and basketball coach in the community. 4 years ago when I ran, I promised that I wouldn't raise your taxes, and in fact, I helped lower your tax rate the last 2 years in a row. Many rumors started that there was going to be a lot of development in Dunkirk on the corner of Yellowbank Road. That was a lie. Here we are 4 years later, nothing. Dunkirk was not expanded. The most of the expansion was to include Dunkirk Park and the Dunkirk Park and Ride. We've put a lot of money into the infrastructure, adding a state-of-the-art playground system in Dunkirk for the kids in the community, and a beautiful new ward park for all citizens, for the senior citizens, nice walking paths, baseball fields for the kids, new roundabout, new paved road, Brick House Road's been paved. Buddy made a very good point. This county was out of control with growth in the 80s and the 90s. That's what we're seeing right now, because the last 10 years, Calvert County has grown less than 0.5% a year. We're one of the slowest growing counties in the state of Maryland, and I'm very proud of that. We passed many text amendments on growth. One of them was reducing the amount of units per acre. However, although I don't want to take any credit for it, because with the new stormwater regulations, they couldn't build any more units anyway. So that should have never been passed to begin with. We've activated a new tower system, communication system in the whole county, about a $21 million investment. We've added paid EMTs to keep up with the demand, to make sure that an ambulance shows up if somebody's in need. Thank you.
Good evening, and thanks for having me. My name's Darrell Roberts, and I'm candidate for Calvert County Commissioner in District 3. I've only lived in the county about 8.5 years, moved my family down here. So while I wasn't born here, I got here as soon as I could. I love this county, all right? Came down here, saw everything, I said, here's where I want to live. And that's why I brought here, and here's why I want to retire. My background, I've been in the military, Navy, United States Navy, the hull technician, as a pipe fitter and a welder. When I got out of the Navy and met my wife in Pennsylvania, I got into the Army National Guard and worked in construction. I got deployed for a year and was a squad leader in an infantry company. Came back, had a job that offered down in DC, and I ran a national nonprofit called Helmets to Hard Hats. So I have experience in grant writing, successful grant writing, multi-million-dollar budgets, and helping people, because that's what I care about. The entire time I think about everything I've ever done in my life, it's to help people. And I believe our county needs help. And I think with my experience, I can be that help. My experience with grants and talking and communicating with people, whether it was in my military time or my job now or the job I had before. I promise you, if I get your vote, and I don't have a primary run in November, if you see my name on the ballot in November, I promise you I'll get your vote. I'll work hard and diligent for what the county needs. I'll be transparent about my efforts. I brought my family here. I've coached soccer. I've done all those things. I've cleaned up the bay. I help where I can. I'll bring those same integrity, commitment to this community, and transparency to you as your Calvert County Commissioner. So thank you very much.
My name is Evan Trzanski. I'm reading because I tend to ramble whenever I get the chance to talk, folks. So, Evan Trzanski, MBA. I grew up in a military home. I served the U.S. Army as a veteran. Currently, I'm a federal consultant, small business owner, and father with over a decade of experience in contract management, cybersecurity, supply chain management, project management. This experience includes overseeing multi-million-dollar equipment and service across 3 continents. Government experience includes contractual and consultant work for all U.S. executive offices of the President, all executive departments. That's the DOA, the DOC, and so on and so forth. And the majority of the independent agencies, so that's the NRC, the SSA, etc. My family moved to Calvert County for a highly rated school system. My son was born here about 9 months ago, and my daughter is currently attending Sunderland. She's also neurally diverse. If elected, what I plan on doing for you is increasing safety, salary, and service throughout the community, and those are the three things that I've been talking about that I would love to increase and maintain. The reason, since I got a little extra time, the reason why I ran was on Mount Harmony. Every time I would go down Mount Harmony, my nieces go to the school there, and I see it, and there's no service lane, there's no sidewalk, there's nothing. The fact that there's nothing there for the safety of our community, I decided, you know what, this is enough of a reason for me to run, for me to, spend my time, my efforts to try and do something to improve the safety of the community. So safety, the salary, and service are the three things I intend on increasing and maintaining throughout the community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for question one. Now, I apologize. I forgot to introduce our timekeeper, Yvonne Rems, who is another member of the DACA board. Please don't take it out on me, okay?
I'm good.
Okay. Okay, question number two. This one starts with Mike Hart. We're moving this way. After Evan gives his answer, it'll swing back to Myra Gowns. Do you have any financial or business conflicts which would concern the issue of growth restrictions and zoning in the county?
I have no...
Not you.
Oh, sorry.
Mike Hart.
No, sir, I don't. In fact, it's proven many times that whenever we've had an issue, I'm in the alcohol industry, that I have recused myself from that. In fact, on my campaign finance report, if you want to check that, I was telling somebody, I said, I didn't take any money at all. They said, yes, you did. So what are you talking about? I said, you took $1. I said, $1? I looked up, I forgot to give my treasurer money to open the account, so actually I owe her $1. But no, I have zero for that, and that's another reason as well. I'm just running. I love my town. I love Calvert County, and I only want to answer to you.
Yeah, it's me. Oh.
Am I next?
Yes.
Okay. Can you repeat the question, please?
Okay, do you have any financial or business conflicts which would concern the issue of growth restrictions and zoning in the county?
I do not. I don't know how to answer it any plainer than that. But I'll stop at that. No, I do not have any conflicts.
Okay. Ms. Powell?
I do not have any conflicts, and that is something that I'm very careful about, so I do not have any conflicts in that area.
The last part of the question again, please, JP.
Do you have any financial or business conflicts that would concern the issue of growth restrictions and zoning in the county?
To the best of my knowledge, no. I do. My wife and I own and operate Property Management of Southern Maryland. We do offer rental properties, and anytime any discussion comes up in reference to housing associated with Calvert Housing Authority, I do recuse myself from those discussions, just in case.
No, I do not have any conflict with the zoning or the POs, yes.
Excuse me while I sit, these chairs are really heavy and cumbersome. No, I do not own any property other than our home. We have no special interest within the county, other than the citizens of Calvert County. Thank you.
So I'm not sure why that question wasn't just to me. Kelly McConkey, do you have a problem? So I voted on the comprehensive plan, but before I voted on the comprehensive plan, I went to my county attorney who represents us. In writing, they said, you have no problems voting on this. You have a judiciary responsibility to vote on the comprehensive plan. I voted on it. The candidate sitting to the left of me filed an ethics complaint against me on the Republican Central Committee's letterhead, knowing that she was going to run against me as a ploy to try to get into the office. So the Ethics Commission wrote a letter of censorship to me, basically said nothing, washed your hands of it. I challenged it in court. I've spent over $50,000 to defend my name, and I won in court. They couldn't accept the fact that I won, so they appealed it to the Special Appeals Court. So the answer to that question is no, there's no financial gain. Voting on the comprehensive plan does not change zoning, and it does not change the use of what you can do on any of your properties. I have gained.
Your time is up,
Thank
sir.
you.
No.
Okay.
I do make a payment to the bank every month for my house.
And I fall in that same category. All I own in, as far as land in Calvert is my home, and that's it. I have no other conflicts.
Okay, next, Myra.
I'm up. I have no conflicts at all. And I will tell you that I have been a national and international developer I'm an entrepreneur for over 50 years, but I use that to fight for our county. Thank you.
So the only issue I've had since I've been on the board is I've always recused myself when we talk about TDRs. My family owns a farm. There are TDRs associated with that farm. So Ethics Committee, I asked when I first got elected, they told me I have to recuse myself, and I do every time, leave the room. So that's the only issue I can think of that might be related to group.
So I've been in finance for 32 years. In my area, because I have access to the federal treasury, I have to avoid even the appearance of impropriety. I have 8 perfect federal audits. I pride myself in the integrity that I hold. I have no conflicts in this county. My wife has a home hair salon, and I work for a local university. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
I have to echo Commissioner Hance on that. I would have to recuse myself from TDR issues, but other than that, I have no other conflicts at all. Thank you.
No, I have absolutely no conflicts. The only thing in this county I own is my house.
Okay, we're going to move on to question 3. Mark Cox, or Chris Gadway there, will be the first one to answer, and we'll swing around through the group that way. Do you believe that developers are responsible for infrastructure to support their development projects before the project is completed?
Yes. You want more?
You got a minute.
Okay. Developers are the ones that are building the property. Developers are building the property out in order to be allowed to have the builders come in and build. So a little bit goes both ways, whether it be to the builders or the developers. All of the costs associated with that and for the infrastructure should be borne on those, and then at that point need to be pushed back onto the consumer. There are some enterprise fund activities in reference to sewer functions and whatnot that the county does pay a portion of, but that is an enterprise, and then the consumers at that point pay that back over the period of time. Thank you.
So yes, I would agree that the developer would pay his part of that, but we're talking 2 different things, one for residential subdivisions and one for commercial use. So there's a little gray area between what the county needs to bring up on their side. We are falling way behind on infrastructure, sewer, roads, and schools. So we need to do our due diligence to keep up with the whole impact. We also have an adequate facility plan that's in place. So we need to keep in touch with that also. Thank you.
I believe 100% developers, whether commercial or residential, should pay for the infrastructure of their project.
I believe currently the developers are paying for that. If they build a shopping center, they're having to upgrade the intersections, the roads, the lights. The bottom line is that all of it's being rolled back into whoever's buying the homes or the properties. So, you know, if your kids want to live here, they're not going to live here. You now have to have sprinkler systems in the homes. You now have to have more TDRs per bedroom. All the taxes are going up. So it's too expensive to live here. So it's going to be impossible. There's no such thing as affordable housing now. And even the affordable housing, a lot of the fees are waived for them, and they're still not going to afford to do it. But if anything is built, it's the developer always has to you know, upgrade the infrastructure.
So part of my background is as a union member, as a sheet metal worker. So I've worked multiple years in construction, and I understand in those years what it takes to build multiple pieces of, whether it's commercial, industrial, residential. And I believe 100% the developer is responsible for ensuring the infrastructure is there before we even get started.
And I have to agree. I firmly believe that as far as infrastructure goes, it needs to be taken care of beforehand, before any home is built. I also got certified by College of Southern Maryland to do home inspections. I did the course down there. And you're probably wondering, well, why did you do that? Well, it's because I like to know what I'm getting before I buy it. That's how I like to roll. But essentially, so currently, while I was going home to home in North Beach, there are folks up there that were complaining that the current buildings that are there, that essentially the roads are getting for some of the smaller homes are getting flooded occasionally. So I believe whatever we have currently as far as infrastructure goes, that we need to improve upon it, so that way folks aren't having to worry about the simple necessities of driving down the road, for example, in the middle of a storm. Like, you shouldn't have to worry about that. Firefighters should be able to go out wherever they need to go. It shouldn't be something you need to worry about. And that's all I got to say.
Okay, Myra?
I'm up. Let me say this. I hate to put a wet blanket on this thing, but the developer, the national developer that comes here, is not, NOT, going to build out the county without there already being roads to access their development. They will build within their property line only. If they have to put in a traffic light, that's minimal. But what's happened when they wanted to build our county out, unrestricted, massive development, they intended for the development to be on their property, and that was it. It's like if you build a subdivision, the builders have to put in their roads, curb and gutter, and other essentials. However, what is happening is they will not come here unless everything is in place for them. Thanks.
So absolutely, earlier I spoke of all the rapid development we had in the 80s and 90s, and mistakes were made at that time. Projects were allowed to move forward, and they were not required to do the things they should have done. We've tried to correct that. There are at least 2 projects in the last 3 years where developers were required to do more than the traffic studies asked them to do. So we are trying to make adjustments to correct that moving forward. Unfortunately, we have those mistakes in the past that we've still got to deal with.
So I have an interesting story. My wife, I mentioned, has a home hair salon. And when we were looking to get a permit for that, the county came to us and said, well, you may have to put in, we live on a private drive. He said, well, you might have to put in a RD4 rural road standard. What? RD4? That means I would have to pay for a road from my house 400 feet to the cul-de-sac. Okay? And you know what that would have cost? About $200,000, because it would have had to have curbs and sidewalks. Okay? So you got to understand, this isn't a blanket issue. This isn't a yes or no. You have to be able to finesse the development, because there's some development that we want and some development that we don't. Thank you.
The infrastructure costs need to be the builder's responsibility. However, I believe the points of entrance and egress to each development need to be well thought out so they're not causing traffic congestion. I also believe the infrastructure associated with it totally, particularly with runoff issues, needs to be addressed as well. Thanks.
Yes, I do believe that if they want to build it, they need to contribute something towards the betterment of the county, be it sidewalks, be it traffic safety improvements, or if anything, at least a contribution in funds towards community green spaces so that we maintain our rural aspect.
What a great question. I wish we had time. I tell you stories for 7 years of the phone calls, the visits I get. Mike, we need this, we need that. And I'm like, this is the cost of doing business. 100% are you responsible for it? Absolutely. You're planning on being there for the long haul. My taxpayers don't owe you that business. I have a business. You don't owe me my CAM fees or anything like that. No, this is the cost of doing business. I've had many, many conversations say the taxpayer dollar is not yours. You want to do your business? Fine. But don't expect the taxpayers to pay for it. That should never be on the table. Great question, and afterwards, I will tell you stories all day long of the experience I've had. Thank you.
One of the problems that we need to work on, Commissioner Hance stated this, is we need to work on the current infrastructure before we even think about massive building at this point. We need to work on water and sewer, and one of the bigger issues, and as big an issue equally, are traffic in Calvert County. We had a bunch of build out in the 80s and 90s, like was stated before, and we've never caught up to that. We've never controlled the infrastructure like we should control the infrastructure. To answer the question, absolutely, the builder should be responsible for the infrastructure of whatever they're going to build. Now, ultimately, they pass that on to the consumer. We all know that. It's going to be baked into the price of the project, so yes.
Yes, I believe that the developer should pick up the cost for the infrastructure. I'm a little concerned because I was reading the Prince Frederick Master Plan draft, and in that draft, it looks like some of that cost is going to be pushed onto the taxpayer. So I'm a little concerned about that. I hope they change that down the road. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the next question. Catherine Grasso is first, and we'll keep the rotation the same. Are you in support of current woke/CRT curriculum being taught in Calvert County schools?
Absolutely not. I am for transparency for parents within the school system. There is so much radicalization of the school system, and it has come to Calvert County. I was just reading that a Dowell kindergarten teacher introduced her students to a book that features a romantic love story between a male prince and a male knight. 5 years old, no. We need to make sure we have a voice in what happens within our school system. We need to support the parents. We need to support the grandparents. Our children deserve to have childhood. Thank you.
I think somebody might have had the answer to that question prior to this meeting, but I served on the school board for 6 years. It's a great school system. I came to this county with my little children. They're all grown. My last one just graduated. I left the school board, became a county commissioner. I continue to fund the schools. I don't believe that CRT is being currently taught in our schools. However, we have to keep an eye on our policies of what the policies say. But I believe that this Board of County Commissioners needs to develop a better relationship with the current board and the new board members that come in, because I think politics, the children are being lost in the shuffle. It's about the kids. It's not about the parents anymore. And we need to support them. And some of these kids are out of control, and these teachers are going to school scared. They're getting beat up. You just read what happened in Charles County. I mean, there's a lot of work to be done, but we have to work together. We can't be part of the problem. We have to be part of the solution.
So I agree that our county, my daughter's in public school, and I worry all the time. Everything you see going out throughout the country, I worry all the time what's happening. But I also know there's good people here in Calvert County. And I believe the teachers and the Board of Education, the county commissioners, our grandparents, everyone should be working together, and I feel like they are in some cases. But I feel there's also conflict. If we give a chance for our educators to do the right thing, I believe they'll do the right thing. But also know we have to watch and be careful and be mindful of it. Thank you.
As far as woke is concerned, I'm going to need a deeper definition because that goes into so many different areas possibly. But something that I would basically like to address is I grew up, at least school-wise, was mostly, at least throughout high school, was in Texas. Thankfully I wasn't in one of the states where they basically prevented us from doing the Pledge of Allegiance. But we also did the Texas allegiance also. It wasn't just one, we did multiples. Now, I firmly believe that that's something we have to keep in the schools. We gotta stay with some of the traditions such as that, because the children nowadays, they're not gonna know these basic things unless if we, have them do it repetitively. Like, that's just one example, though, at least, of something that I think we need to keep in the system. We gotta keep some of those things. As far as other things go, like the CRT and such, like I'm not a huge fan, honestly, and that's all I got to say about those matters.
Myra?
No, I don't believe in wokeism or whatever, but I do believe that our teachers, and I'm so glad you asked because I've been meeting with teachers. I want to know what's going on in our schools, and this is the code of conduct for our students. There's no discipline, there's no civility. It is just an amazing document that they discuss everything except learning, being a good pupil, and being respectful to the teachers. The teachers are afraid of their students. I've talked to many of them. I've talked to a couple of associations. They get their picture taken and they post it online. That's the children do, the student, post it online and then make comments. These people, we need to take the cell phones out of the classroom. There is no reason for a kid to have a cell phone.
So I'm not sure what woke and there's no formal policy for CRT to be taught in the Calvert County school system, but I agree with Myra. What I've learned in the last 3 years, the school system today is nothing like the school system I went to. Our teachers today are afraid. She's right. They are abused. They can't touch a child. The children have more rights than the teachers, and something's wrong. And I don't know how we fix it. It's not just Maryland. It's not just Calvert County. It's a nationwide issue. A lot of these policies come down from the state that the county has to institute. But what I will tell you all is there are 2 vacancies on the school board. Make sure you study those candidates that are running. There are about 9 candidates running. Make sure you do your homework and vote for people to sit on that school board that represent your views. That's the most important thing. The Board of County Commissioners have no control over policy of the school board. The only thing we do is write them a check. And they remind us of that every year. So, thank you.
So I don't support any policy that disparages one race, culture, ethnicity in favor of another. That's what we've lost here. Okay? We've also lost the ability to say no. I tell my kids no all the time. I think they love me more for it. Tyler, he's here now. Tyler, what do you think? It's tough, right? No, it's tough. It's tough being a parent. What's that? Oh, sorry, Frank. It's tough being a parent. You've got to say no. Okay? It's tough being a leader. Sometimes being a leader is saying no also. Not everybody gets a yes. And unfortunately, we lose that in politics. Sometimes you have to say no. And that's what's created the current condition in this country, I'm convinced of it. Okay? This right here, this does more harm than good. It really does. You might think it's easy how I can check my family's Facebook feed and all that stuff, but if you don't raise your kids, this will. And the people behind this phone don't have your kids' best interest at heart. Thank you.
I think if we got back to reading, writing, arithmetic, and the pledge, we'd be in pretty good shape. We have some great educators in this county, and as I said, a lot of them are afraid to do their job, but they're wonderful people. I mean, I've met numerous along my campaign trail during interviews for, with the unions. But like I said, we have some wonderful educators in this county. I think their hands are tied. I really do. They're limited in what they can do. I think we need some parental input on our curriculum, and we need to be fully transparent. Thank you.
We all know that CRT is not being taught in these schools. But what is happening now is an expansion of diversity of families, diversity of thoughts, backgrounds, and that's something that we need to embrace. I'm a mixed race woman, probably the only one on this board, and I want my children to see that families come from diverse backgrounds. Histories are diverse, and we are all interconnected. And so this idea of CRT or wokeism, I must ask you, by putting down groups of people and saying, no, you cannot learn about them, to protect another group, what are you teaching your children?
So I have an 8-year-old, and we have these discussions sometimes. No, I'm not supporting any policies like that. Let me tell you what I do support. I support teach my child mathematics. Teach them the curriculum to be successful in the world. And let me tell you, in my house, we teach respect for the Lord, we teach respect for this country, and when they go to school, I'm like, son, that's a job like I go. You respect that teacher. I hear you're not respecting that teacher. We got issue. It's my job to make my child a person that's beneficial to this world. I don't lay that on anybody else. That's me and his mother's responsibility. So I don't believe in teaching anything that would be negative. And I think a lot of times teachers are put in the crosshairs. They're getting told to teach something that maybe they don't believe in. Let's get back to teaching the basic fundamentals. You know, there's a lot of competition in this world out here. Our kids need to be sharp. But it starts at home, and I take that responsibility serious, and no, I don't support anything that would be negative.
My principal had a paddle about that thick with holes in it. So I'm going to vote that we bring paddles back to schools. No, I'm just kidding. Listen, you know, I said this at a different forum. You know, sometimes I feel like we should put the kids in the boardroom and the politicians in the classroom. You know, we do need a better working relationship. To answer your question, no, I don't support CRT. The reality of it is we were a little bit asleep at the driver's seat when during last election. We need to make sure that we have like-minded BOE candidates. We have some great candidates in this room tonight. And we need to make sure that our like-mindedness, that we get those candidates in there. The county commissioners have no oversight over CRT. The question is, do I support it? As a person, I do not. Thank you.
I believe that the teachers and the parents need to work together. CRT is a very complex issue, and I think they're mucking up the waters, so to speak. I would like to see money and effort put in special programs, which would include mental health, to work with our children. Right now, 12% of the budget, of the school's budget, is for special programs, and that's not enough. The teachers that teach the special needs children are in dire need of help. So, thank you.
I could be wrong, but from what I understand, CRT was originally developed as a higher-end college-based program. Within weeks after me being on the board of commissioners, Dr. Curry was in front of us. This was last summer. And I asked Dr. Curry, do you or any of your administration, have you in any way, shape, or form given any directions or instructions to any of the educators to treat children differently based on any kind of outward physical appearance? He spent the next 3 minutes answering the question with black this, white this, non-white this, non-black that, and how they treat all the children differently based solely on their race and their ethnicity. That was Dr. Curry. I voted no on a budget adjustment that would allow the benefit to the children of only one race of one gender. I think it's wrong to spend money based on race and specific gender. Thank you.
No, I do not support CRT. I believe we need to get back to core of education. Our schools need to be transparent in our schools for all stakeholders. I'm talking about the teachers, parents, and the support staff. We must raise the bar on education and not lower the bar. But we also need continuity between the Board of Commissioners, the Board of Ed, and also the State Board of Education. Thank you.
Okay, the next question goes back to the top of the batting order, Myra Gowans. What is your opinion regarding forced sewer or water in Dunkirk, especially when the estimated cost would be well over $20,000 per homeowner to connect to such a system?
We can't afford it, and neither can you, because the sewer systems that are made up, like, you would have to do like a Blue Plains, which is in DC going into PG County, the plant there. We do not, there is no place to put that system. We are such a small county. Now, what is happening is the BOCC, Mr. Willis, Mark Willis, said that the state wanted to give us sewage. They were going to put a pipe in Prince Frederick down to Solomon's. That is inefficient. You cannot have something like this. I talked to the Department of Environment, and they laughed at me when I said, you're giving us $40 million. They're like, what are you talking about? So here's the thing. We cannot have these enormous systems in the county because there's no place. It's called, it will drain into our land. Even if you spray it, it's still draining. Thank you.
So I said, excuse me, I said 4 years ago that as long as the majority of the citizens in Dunkirk did not want water and sewer, I would never support water and sewer in Dunkirk. I haven't changed that position. I see no reason not to. My job as a commissioner is to listen to the citizens and represent the majority of what their views and perspectives are. So that hasn't changed for me. Thank you.
So you know what has never discharged effluent into the bay? My septic system. Never. Chesapeake Beach, wastewater treatment plant has, right? All of them do. Blue Plains does. I wouldn't swim right south of Blue Plains. I don't trust it. I don't trust it. Sewage plants are not a panacea for anything. They cause equally as much problem as they cause good. So I'm sure there's just no, I'm not even sure why we're not putting in more septic systems per house. It just doesn't make sense to me. But it's the state regulation that's causing the problem. Okay, thank you.
I would also listen to the citizens of Dunkirk as to what they wanted. However, I would also monitor our creeks, our tributaries, our river to make sure that there is no damage being done, there is no runoff, there are no sewage issues, and I'll work with the health department to make sure that that is done so that we're not polluting our rivers. Thank you.
The citizens of Dunkirk don't want a forced sewer system, and that's great. What we should be doing is ensuring that the systems that are in place, septic, are maintained, and that the local water quality is also maintained by monitoring and ensuring that there aren't any spills, that there aren't any leaks of any sort of thing. So no, I do not.
So 8 years ago, a few people came up to me and said, Mike Hart, you don't get up the road that much, but let me tell you about Dunkirk. No water and sewer, you hear me? I said, absolutely. I said, we don't want it. We don't want it here. And I agree. And I'll tell you for a couple of reasons. I'm fearful of what a future board could do with that. Because once you do that, you allow the pipeline for apartments and high density housing. And that is too easy to say, hey, we've got this plot of land over here right now. We got a connection right here, boom, and let it go. So absolutely not, do I? And I will never support funding it. If the state said you're going to do it, not with my help, you're not. I can tell you that, and I'll fight it every step of the way.
I don't believe we can afford it, first of all. I do believe we do have a problem. If we filled this room with everyone in Dunkirk from, say, Apple Green that had holding tanks, they may feel differently about that. I think as a county, we need to do something to help those folks. Their property values have been reduced by $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in some cases. They're spending it upwards to $300 to $500 a month to empty those tanks, and we are increasing the fees for the folks to dump the sewage. I think we as a county need to do something to at least help the people that are forced to have holding tanks and get them some relief. It's just an extra $500. You know, $500 is still a lot of money to me. So I think we need to do something to help them. Do I support putting water and sewer in Dunkirk? That's the question. No.
I'll make this short. I will support whatever the Dunkirk community wants. I will not support public sewage. Thank you.
My answer to this question is going to be short, so I want to add something to the previous question. Please, 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 everyone in the county, please do your research on all of the Board of Ed candidates. Vote for the Board of Ed candidates. Please pay attention to them. Look up what they stand for. As it's been said before, the people of Dunkirk are not asking for it, so no. If the people of Dunkirk change their mind, yes, I'd support it. But until then, no.
Okay, I do not support sewer in Dunkirk. But what we must do as county commissioners, we must look at all the systems that we have now. Look at Apple Green. If you live in Jonathan Drive, the smell from that system. Us as a board cannot keep on kicking that can down the road without doing some due diligence on them systems. We have 4 or 5 systems in Dunkirk. They need properly maintained. They need, there have been design flow issues. Us as a board, and to go back, if you have one of these systems, you need a GPR report. So that means that some of them are regulated by the health department, some are regulated by the MDE. We as county commissioners cannot keep on blaming the health department or the MDE for these situations, for the smell, for the overflow, for these systems. The holding tanks also, these people, it's very easy to fix. We need our delegates to get on board and get them fixed. Thanks.
I spent many an evening with all of you in DACA meetings talking about the growth in Dunkirk. I worked the workshops with all of you. I know you don't want sewer. I live in Dunkirk. I don't want it, so no.
In my 4 years, there's been no talk of water and sewer in Dunkirk. We just had a special meeting last night for a tax district for the some Chesapeake residents in the Highlands whose systems are failing. They're on holding tanks. They're about 4,000 gallon tanks. They cost about $800 a month. Their house is worth this. They can't sell their houses. The word's out, nobody wants to buy a house in there. Nobody wants to buy a house in Apple Green. So I agree with Mark, we need to do something to help these people. There are grants, there are things that we can do to help them. As far as Prince Frederick, the scare tactic of the whole sewer system failing was false. They said we were at 71% capacity. We're only at 67%. It went from 66 to 67 in 6 years. By law, we don't have to plan until it reaches 80%. We're already planning now. We're not going to build a pipeline to Solomon's Island, another scare tactic that's never going to happen. We'll find more land in Prince Frederick. We have plenty of time. It'll be 20 years before it gets to 80%, if that. Thank you.
If you select me as your county commissioner, I'm running for District 3, I will listen to the community. It's one of my platform issues. Listening to the community, being transparent about what's going on. The answer is no, you don't want it, then I'm not going to second guess that. The answer is no. I do not support it.
Okay, so while I was going door to door in Dunkirk, this is something that was brought to my attention, and no, I do not support it. Not only do I not support it, but when I moved down here a couple of years ago, I wanted to get my own. Well, and I found out that you have to go through the state essentially. Like once you're already hooked up, like I am, to public, you can't have your own separate well. You can't ask for it. And now, like I said, not only am I against essentially the sewer, forcing folks into the sewer system, but I think that there needs to be something done at the state level. Folks who have a lot of land, you have a lot of property, why can't you have a well? Thank you.
Okay, the next question, we'll be starting with District 1, Mike Hart. What is your position or support of the direction the BOCC should take regarding high-density housing, most recently reduced from 24 to 14 units per acre? Is 14 units per acre the best maximum allowance number, or could it be lower?
Well, I'd like to see it be lower. I think everybody knows how adamant I am against apartments. I'm also for increasing buying more TDRs for the bank. I'm in more favor of increasing the price of TDRs. Don't want to see that happen. And I'm sorry, GP, give me the back end of that question again.
Okay, what is your position or support of the direction the BOCC should take regarding high-density housing, most recently reduced from 24 to 14 units per acre? Is 14 units the best maximum allowable number, or should it be lower?
Okay, yeah, and absolutely. I'm going to push to keep making it lower and lower. I don't want to see apartments. This is not the home I grew up in. I don't think it's what we moved here for. The people that have moved here, for its way of life, and there's plenty of other counties around the state. If you like apartment living, it's there. But Calvert County is a bedroom community. It's a rural community, and I want to see it stay that way.
Well, the JP, you said it went from 24 to 14, is that what you said?
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of smoke and mirrors. The maximum that a builder can build is 14. Okay, that's what they said. That's the maximum they can build. But it was reduced on a piece of paper from 24 to 14. I do believe it could be reduced to 10. I think that would be reasonable to answer the question. I think that is a reasonable amount of build out per acre. Although on paper it was reduced from 24 to 14, I think that 10 is a reasonable number.
I think that it's a two-pronged issue. I think that 14 is adequate, but the other side of that is we do need attainable housing. We're chipping away from our own infrastructure by not having housing for the young firefighters, the young policemen, the young teachers, young families that come to our community and make up our society. So as far as going below 14, I would love to see that too, but I think 14 is adequate.
The 24 to 14, the 24 dwelling units per acre was approved by the Planning Commission and the board, I believe, in 2015. The 24 was in the Newtown District in Prince Frederick. Everything else, to the best of my knowledge, was maximum 14 dwelling units per acre. Within months of me being on the commission, being a commissioner, I believe it was in October, I asked to see what we could do about changing that and getting those numbers lowered. With the help of a couple of the other commissioners, we worked very hard. The Planning Commission kicked back against some of our amendments on that in order to reduce those numbers. And we overrode the Planning Commission in order to get 3 text amendments passed just last month that would reduce it. I would like to reduce it more, but I also want to maintain our AAA bond rating, and we would have to take a look with the experts in order to determine what that good number is, what that sweet spot is, whether or not it's 8, 10, or 12. But 13.7 is what you see in Prince Frederick.
Yes, I do support the 14. I think we need to do a case-by-case basis, some reducing to 10 and others at 14. Thank you.
I support reducing from 14 down. I don't know what the correct number would be, but I would like for it to get to a number low enough where we can control high-density building. We didn't move here for high-density building. We moved here for the rural character and for our homes on acreage. I'd also like to see us buy up some more TDRs. Thank you.
Like I said earlier, nobody should pat themselves on the back on this board for reducing it from 24 to 14, because with the stormwater management regulations, you couldn't build any more than 14 anyway. But it's nice to get a little bit of credit for not doing anything. Reducing it any lower than that will not be affordable for a developer to build it, to make enough money without raising the cost of the housing so high that nobody would be able to afford them. Again, like Mrs. Powell said, we have young police officers, young teachers in our community. They have nowhere to live. Single moms with several children have nowhere to live in this county. You can't find a rental in this county. There's barely any real estate to be bought in this county right now. So nobody in this room has to worry about growth in this county. The growth is halted. The developers and builders are leaving. So in 4 years, we've grown less than 0.5% every single year. So the whole growth thing is just a scare tactic, trust me.
I believe the 14 units per acre is adequate. I also think, and I agree with some of my peers, that it could be by case basis. It could go 8 to 10 depending on where, location, and needs. I think affordable housing is important because I agree with my peers as well that too many of our personnel, our residents, whether they're nurses, police officers, deputy sheriffs, teachers, assistants, whomever it might be, or support staff, we want them to live here where they work as well so they have that pride and they feel that community as well. So I don't know that answer, but I would sure as hell work hard to find it.
Can I get the question one more time? Sorry.
Okay. What is your position or support of the direction the BOCC should take regarding the high-density housing, most recently reduced from 24 to 14 units per acre? Is 14 the best maximum allowable number, or can it be lower?
Now, this is regarding TDRs, correct?
The question came out just like it is. It doesn't mention TDRs.
Okay, because I'm trying to get the exact context for this, because unlike everybody else here, I don't have the exact context. However, all farms -3 have been preserved in our county. So if it's regarding that, so we can increase the build, and if that's the case, then yes, I'm in full support. Thank you.
Myra?
Okay. First of all, let me help you visualize this. 24 residences, houses, detached on 1 acre of ground. Calvert Citizens United wrote a letter to the editor explaining they call it DUs in our comp plan and in the master plan. It's a residence, it's a home. And if you take 1 acre of land and you have all your setbacks for everything, all your utilities, curb and gutter, whatever else is involved, you want our firemen, the teachers, the nurses, to be and live right here in the county that they serve, you can't have more than 8 units. 8 houses on an acre, and those are basically townhouses. You get 24 units, what they called for, when you build a shop, when you build commercial on the bottom, and you build 4 and 5 stories of apartments on top. That is what they wanted to do, and that's how the comp plan was addressed and approved. So that is exactly how you got that number, okay? I want you all to understand that before you leave here tonight. Thank you.
So I don't know what the right number is. Right now, with what we've done, the consistent number across Prince Frederick is 14 in the town centers. What's more important is height restrictions. That was one of the reasons why we took 24 down to 14. Because if you have 24, some developer would come in and argue, hey, I need 2 more floors to get my 24. So if you take 24 out of the equation, that is important, because now they can only get 14. So there are other factors involved in that. I don't think anybody moved to Calvert County, and my family hadn't been here forever, to see our town centers covered up in high-story, multiple-story apartment buildings. And we have provisions in place today for affordable housing, low-income housing, and all the impact fees, TDRs, everything is exempted, but nobody's building them. All those new apartments in Prince Frederick are all market rate. So we have provisions there for affordable housing. There's no developers taking advantage of it. So for me, I want to make sure we keep our small towns small towns.
So I don't know that there really is a number. 24, 14, you know, you guys are chasing your tail. Here's why they build 14 units per acre. Because it costs so much to build 1 unit per acre. I talked to Jim Schaefer, a home builder, and he said to me, he's like, look, I got to spend so much money to get through all these approvals to build 1 house. Why would I take that acre and build 1 house when I could build 6 townhouses, or 8, or 10, or whatever the ordinance allows? Okay, we make it so incredibly difficult to build a single-family home in this county that the developers who are going to risk their money have no option, or a better option, to build high density, up to 14 units per acre, so they can recoup their money. Okay, you have to get back to whatever the issue is. Look at the money. There's money to be spent and made in this business, and the people that are going to do it, they're going to do it in high density. Trust me.
I don't know that there's a correct number either. I do know now's not the time to build anything, unfortunately, with prices the way they are. I mean, it's extremely expensive for anybody to build anything. Affordable housing is definitely an issue. It's going to continue to be an issue for the blue-collar workers, and it's a challenge. I mean, it's something that's going to have to be addressed. We're going to have to figure something out for that. By the time they pay impact fee, engineering, go through the permit process, lot acquisition, somebody spent a lot of money and they haven't even touched building their house yet. With building materials the way they are right now, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for anybody, whether it's a blue-collar worker or anybody that comes along. Like I said, now it's tough times right now, it really is, and it's something that we're going to have to look at.
Right now, Calvert County doesn't have affordable housing. The average person, the people who stock your shelves, serve your food, educate your children, cannot afford to live here. People who make $17 an hour working for the county government 40 hours a week can't afford to live here. What I would propose is, rather than apartments and townhomes, we start thinking outside the box and look at what other communities have done to create more eco-friendly small homes for single professionals, for retirees, and help them move into these places that have less of an impact on our water and sewer grid. That way, the current single-family homes that we have down in the Ranch Club where I live are now freed up so that people can move into homes that are already built.
Okay, next question, we'll start with Chris Gadway. What will you do as commissioners to offset the cost of the Kerwin Commission? How will you prepare to lessen the impact to the Calvert County taxpayers?
The vast majority of everything in reference to the Kerwin Commission is already established on state law. We have a very, very, very limited amount that we can do locally. We as a commissioners worked very hard in order to make sure at least we have a seat at the table. I give a huge amount of kudos to President Hans for pushing for that. He wanted to make sure we had a seat at the table. We were, to the best of my knowledge, the first county in the state to actually have a joint public and school commission, or committee, I guess it would be called, that would deal with the Kerwin. The school got to appoint people, the county got to appoint people. We've got leadership from both sides working together. But bottom line is, when it comes down to the money, it's already prescribed what we're going to spend. We're going to try our darndest to keep it down. But when the state comes down and says we have to spend it, we're going to have to spend it. We just got to figure out where to get it.
I don't think anybody knows how much a Kerwin's going to cost us, from the teacher salaries to what they have to do during the course of a day. So when you talk to the Board of Ed, when you talk to teachers, no one knows. So we're going to have to take this issue very seriously, take it piece by piece, and do due diligence to make it work, find the money for it, and get the schools back where they need to be, and not 11th on the list, but back in 2 and 3 in our state. Thank you.
Like has been said, the Kerwin Commission is mandated by the state. We are forced to do this. I'm really happy that the current county commissioners have the boards that they do have, and we're going to work very hard to make sure that the burden is not on the Calvert Countyans. I don't, like Mark said, I don't know what we're facing. I've read it. I see that it's mainly an increase in teachers' salaries. It's a hierarchy. There have been numbers thrown around, but I don't think any of us really know what we're facing until we get into it. And I think it's incumbent upon us, as we know what we are all facing as Calvert Countyans, that we keep all of you informed. Thank you.
When the Kerwin report first came out, Calvert County was ranked amongst the top in the county, and we weren't going to have to come up with much money, because Calvert County Board of County Commissioners over the past decades have always overfunded the school system at such a good amount that Calvert County was ranking very good. But what I think the state's going to do is punish the counties who did the right thing to make up for the counties that didn't, like Baltimore City and things like that. So we don't know how much it's going to cost, what we're going to have to do. Just like the state just handed us the Police Accountability Board that's going to cost us a lot of money. So the state keeps putting these mandates on us, but they're not giving us any funding. So we're going to have to come up with options and see where we can get the money. But again, in my 4 years, I will reduce things in the county before I raise your taxes.
So I've also read the Kerwin Commission paperwork, and I know that it's coming. I do not know what the cost is going to be. In my experience working national nonprofit, various states with grants and along those lines, it seems there's always hits of people trying to lay different things at our feet. And part of my job would be to protect the citizens from that. So while I don't know what the amount of money would be, I can assure you that the least impact upon you will be my goal.
I'm also currently unaware of what the impact is going to be from Kerwin, but something that I do like that's coming from it is addressing special education, and I believe that's very important, especially as an individual who has to deal with that throughout his family. Thank you.
People that are in the associations and everything in the school board, what has happened is the people coming in to work as our teachers, and they make $50,500. That's what they make. They want to raise their salaries across the board so that these newcomers will eventually, within, I think it's 3 years, 2024, I think, they will then have a starting salary of $60,000. When you look at that, they can't even afford a house because their ratios are too high to be able to get a real home in the county. So that's what's going on right now, trying to get these salaries up. However, what has to happen is we pay 48% of our tax dollars go to the school board. And I don't mind, paying a decent salary if you are getting good results. And I think we could basically say we need a seat on the board and we must have a member of the commission to meet with the school board every month. Thank you.
So when Kerwin came out, I did request that we organize a work group made up of teachers, citizens, support staff, Board of Education, and Board of County Commissioners, because everybody talks about the salaries that's in Kerwin, but there are a lot of other provisions in Kerwin that are going to impact all those other people. So I wanted to make sure that we had everybody at the table, that we come out with the best efficient and effective plan. Most recently, Dr. Curry's estimating the first year Kerwin's probably going to cost us $5 million. The state has money they're going to dole out. We are ranked as a wealthy county. They are less likely to give us what we think is our fair share. So it is going to be a challenge. But what I tell you today is that $60,000 is not where we're going to start. Because if every county in the state is at $60,000 and we want the best teachers, we got to be above $60,000. That's how we built this school system from being the worst to the best, and that's how we're going to have to keep it at a high level. So 60,000 in the number. I don't know what it is, but it's not 60,000, because in 3 years everybody's at 60, and we want the best.
So I said it before, there's no correlation between spending and improved outcomes for students. There isn't. I asked back when I ran for commissioner in 2014, I was attacked by the Teachers Association in Calvert, and I was attacked by the state union. I asked them, I said, listen, I'll be your biggest champion. Just show me a paper, credible research study. Show me the correlation. I'm happy to be, I'll be your biggest fan. Couldn't do it. They finally shared one that said there's no correlation between spending and improved outcomes for students. Kerwin, they didn't pay attention to that. They said, well, we got to pay more money. Well, maybe. But I'm going to fight for the autonomy of Calvert County and the Board of Education and the Board of County Commissioners to determine our own fate. You know, you heard about sanctuary cities across the country, right? And the states imposed laws, and the sanctuary city says, yeah, we're not enforcing that. Well, you know what? Maybe we should be a sanctuary county. Think about that.
State law, again, like everybody says, is going to mandate the Kerwin dollars that are spent. We're going to have to find a way to fund it. I mean, the pie is only so big, you can only cut the pie in so many ways. we need to find a way to make that pie larger. Is it going to be maybe expansion of the power plant, or we're going to have to find another tax base that's coming in? I can't tell you the last thing I would do is increase our income or our taxes that we pay to the county, to the state. I'm a taxpayer as well. That's the last thing I want to do is pay more taxes in order to fund this, but we're going to have to find a way to fund it. Thank you.
One of the things I like to think I can do is bring different ideas to the table, and one such would be to look for alternative means of funding, be it through state or federal grants, or in the long term for funding of the Kerwin Commission is to work on our tourism industry so that the people coming in and spending those dollars and then leaving our county, those dollars go into our school system so that our taxes, which I sure as hell can't afford a rate, and I'm sure neither of you, can any of you here. Our taxes will not go up, but the people coming to visit our county, to see our environment, to see our beaches, to see our trails, our agricultural tourism farms, they spend their money and then we can use that to improve our schools and follow the Kerwin.
So in business, this happens all the time. There's always changes. State's always famous. State's always crying poor mouth, crying broke. We knew this was coming. That's why we funded stuff like the OPEB account, other post-employee benefits. We funded that way ahead. There's 2 generations in there. We don't have to put the contribution out that other jurisdictions do. They took teacher pensions away when I first came on the board. We funded them. So I've done 7 budgets, and it's not saying I'm not concerned, but I've seen this stuff before. We've been preparing for the last few years. We knew this was coming. There's nobody hitting the panic button, and it sounds oversimplified. We have lived within our means. There's other jurisdictions have things we would love to have. People say, why don't you have this, why don't you have that? Because all those things also have a price tag. You have to live within your means. You have to grow as you can afford it. It's a thing called baby steps. And we're prepared. We're prepared. We don't know the exact number, but we'll be ready, and life will not change. Thank you.
I love politicians. What you didn't hear was that there's 2 options. There's going to be a tax cut or a tax raise, a tax increase to you, okay, or there's not, right? And I believe that there will be a tax increase. They're also talking about a fire tax. I'm hearing grumblings about a fire tax. So that's the only way to pay for it. What we're not hearing about is the lack of Dominion Cove Point, the pilot program, $20+ million less money, right? We have to adjust for that as well. In addition to that, Commissioner Hance stated $5 million. Before the build out of that, it goes to $7-8 million a year that we have to come up with. There either needs to be massive cuts or there's going to be a tax increase. Thank you.
There's going to be a lot of things that need to be done to come up with this money for the Kerwin blueprint. And one of the things that I think we need to get back to grassroots with our management staff in the county and get them to look at those areas where we can cut. I think we've been doing too many amendments to the budget, too many requests that just go through. I think that we need to also get the county staff to be accountable for helping us come up with that money.
Okay, thank you. This will probably be the last question before we give you time to do your 1-minute wrap-up. We'll be starting this question with Catherine Grasso. Will you as a commissioner require planning and zoning to conduct proper studies using professionally recognized methodologies on traffic congestion, sewerage capacity, school capacity, and environmental impact before approving building permits for large new developments?
Definitely. I think one of the problems we have, and you can see it in Prince Frederick with the build out down there, the traffic study that was done, is my understanding, is not compatible with our county. It was based on larger jurisdictions. So most definitely. To tell you the truth, JP, I really want to see high density go. High density is creating a world of hurt for us, and I think we should move forward from the next board forward strategically We need to think strategically, plan strategically, and not just think for the moment. Think what the repercussions are to Calvert County citizens in the future as a result of our actions. Thank you.
The current planning and zoning is already doing that. The zoning hasn't changed in this county since like 1986. The apartments that are being built in Prince Frederick could have been done 20 years ago. This board has changed no zoning to build anything. The only thing this board has built is firehouses and libraries and parks for the community. There's been no growth on our part. We don't approve anything that's being built. If somebody owns a piece of property and they have the zoning for that, they go before the planning commission, and the planning commission approves their plans. So, and we just passed several text amendments to where they need more TDRs, increasing the cost to them, which is going to increase the cost to whoever's buying it. So we're doing everything we can. We're doing just what they've planned for 20 years, concentrating the growth in the town centers and protecting our rural areas. That's what this board has done. Thank you.
The short answer is yes, I would support any of the studies necessary to do that work. But I also believe that's true for almost any of the work you do with large budgets, or any budgets for that matter. Anytime you're going to have a large expense going out, you should look and do the studies necessary to ensure the funds are being spent in a good and informed decision and transparent manner. So I would support not just it for our developers or any processes or any construction, but also with our departments in other areas. Where's our money going? How's it being spent? Is it being planned? Are we making informed decisions? Are we being strategic about our efforts? All those answers have to be given. Thank you.
And I also agree. I believe as far as the sewer and everything, just everything in general, and we pretty much discussed this already, that any type of building that happens, we need to have everything looked at. We need to have individuals who are certified, who know what they're doing. They're going out there, they're making sure everything's the way it's supposed to be before it's built. Not only that, but in order to make sure things are going to get funded, essentially, to give us the best, we also need to make sure we look at our impact fee and make sure that it's updated. As far as I'm concerned, an impact fee that hasn't been updated in 20 years that is funding everything needs to be addressed. Thank you.
I'm up. Let me just say this. The reason we're in this problem right now is because we have 4 builder and developers in the county, and they wanted to maximize build out. And they had meetings with our government and backroom meetings. I've got 100 pages in my bag down here of backroom meeting minutes where they sold out this county. And what is happening right now is we're trying to pull everything back to be remanded so that the citizens who are at the top of the organizational chart get their say finally. But we cannot afford to put in, they wanted to put in, Mark Willis stated that if you didn't like sewer, public sewer up here in Dunkirk, well, you better move. You should think of moving then. The other thing is they will have to put in 4 to 6 lanes with a bike lane and ingress and egress, and we can't afford that either on our highway. Thank you.
So yes, Planning Commission should always do their due diligence, because at the end of the day, they approve those projects. Most of those regular projects do not come to us. You know, the one good thing in the comprehensive plan that was adopted in 2019 is that they are adding more components to the adequate public facilities, things that weren't addressed early on that will be addressed moving forward. At the end of the day, absolutely, because mistakes were made. And Myra's comment about all those mistakes, that was the previous board, not the current board.
So I don't put a lot of faith into the planning and zoning area, only because I've been told so many different things over the years. I'm a little skeptical. Sorry to say that, but we need to also ask some questions in the commissioner's room. You know, we can't put everything on the staff. The staff make a recommendation. Commissioners need to come back and challenge that sometimes. You know, it's not always the right answer. We need to figure it out. So I don't know that the way that question was packaged is exactly how I would approach this. But I think we have to be smarter about what the impact of things are, and whether or not there's a return to come to the citizens of Calvert County. You know, Steve mentioned about the $5 million that's going away. It's actually more. That's going away with the Berkshire Hathaway, because I think Dominion may have negotiated in bad faith, because they knew they were lobbying for critical energy infrastructure at the same time that they were signing the pilot program. Where's their attorney? Let's figure that out.
Planning and zoning is extremely important for Calvert County. It has to be there. I mean, without it, I think things would run amok. The traffic studies that have been done, there have been some issues with the traffic studies. You can't do a traffic study at an intersection for 24 hours, over a 24-hour period, and expect to get a real traffic study. You just can't do it. I mean, it has to be done, during those high traffic volume times, and that hasn't been done in the past. We need to plan, and we need to make sure that our infrastructure that is in place, to include roadways, is going to support any development we do in the future. Thank you.
Mr. McConkey said that the current zoning laws were done in the 80s. I was born in 1988. If our zoning laws are older than I am, this is a problem that we need to look at and perhaps correct to reflect the state that we're in right now. And that is a situation where we cannot afford more growth. And what we need to do is, yes, I would support more proper studies, and like Mr. Ireland said, ones that actually reflect what is happening in this community. We all know that there is traffic in the morning and in the evening for the average commuter. So why are we doing 24-hour studies that average it all out and then can say, well, you don't have any traffic? We all know that's not true. We need to look at our planning and fix it to make it how it is and reflect our community today.
So it's true, we are working on that as we speak. We know those are antiquated. So yes, we are looking at making it more logical up to today. And so agree with a lot what was said. And I just want to go back to, we're not losing 20 million from Dominion. The number is being worked on, but we're not losing 20 million from Dominion. Could I give you that exact number today? No, I cannot. But we will have that number very soon, but we are not losing 20 million.
The infrastructure from Calvert County was ruined 20, 30 years ago, and I don't believe there's anybody on this board that had anything to do with that. The problem is that now we have to get caught up. One of the biggest problems in Calvert County, I believe, we had a growth rate of 0.5%. That's not horrible. But what I'll tell you, the biggest problem is a traffic study. We got a dollar store traffic study, and we needed one from Neiman Marcus. And that's what I say, one of the biggest problems and one of the biggest complaints that I get from citizens in Calvert County are they're tired of sitting in traffic because we keep building and we have to do something to relieve the traffic. So to answer your question, JP, yes, I support it.
I also support getting traffic studies and so forth, especially when we're going to be building. It baffles me that they bring in some consultants, though, that will say we do not have a traffic problem based on a formula that the consultant came up with. We need to make sure that the consultants can identify with our community and not one size does not fit all. Thank you.
There's about 80 people in this room, and I think that all 80 of us have done our own personal traffic study Monday through Friday going up and down Route 4. We do need to have the right traffic studies done. We know that the traffic backs up. I'm in favor of smart traffic lights, getting the state highway on board to prioritize that as an expenditure, to get smart traffic lights installed, smart traffic devices. Some of the things in reference to what you'd asked about, JP, proper bonding. Bonding is what a person or a builder puts up front when the county requires a person to put up a bond up front. Just yesterday, I was asking the questions about that so I could understand it. And I was told this bonding schedule is required by the state. Okay, great. This is the dollar amount required by the state, and that's what it is, $1.25 a square foot for planning inside the buffer area or critical area. It doesn't have to stay that. We can increase those bonds. We can increase that above state minimums in order to make it beneficial for the builders to do the right thing.
We had a traffic study done a while back. We had some intersections get D ratings. We still haven't fixed them. We still have by-roads in Prince Trega that are not connected. We have schools, 2 schools that are very close to overcapacity. We have an adequate public facility ordinance in place, which we just added sewage, but that contains roads, schools, and sewage. We need to look at this very closely. Thanks.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we'll now have a closing remarks, 1 minute from each of our candidates, starting dead end with Myra Gowans.
I just want to share a few words with you. First, thank you for being here. Secondly, what is happening in our county right now is we are using Mead and Hunt as the consultants. They have their internal packages that they use for traffic, for environmental. We did before the comp plan approval, we did not do a cost-benefit analysis. We didn't know how much it would cost to build it out. We did no traffic study, legitimate traffic study, and I can tell you a traffic study for 20 years, projections can cost you about over $500,000. We did not do an environmental impact study. We did no legitimate studies, and that is why we must remand our plan back to the citizens for them to work with the new Board of County Commissioners. Thank you.
So I ran 3.5 years ago because I was concerned about the quality of life in Calvert County. I live 8 miles from where my ancestors got off of a boat from England at where the nuclear power plant is today. My family hadn't moved in over 200 years. I'm not leaving. And I want to make sure Calvert County is the place where my kids want to live and their kids want to live, because the Hanses are invested in Calvert County. And that's the same reason that a lot of you moved here is the reason we have stayed here. And it's my job to make sure that we maintain that in the future. I ask for your vote on July the 19th, or early voting, or however you vote in this primary season. I ask for your vote. I ask for you to get your family and your friends to vote for me so I can continue to do the work to protect this county. Thank you very much. And I want to thank DACA for hosting.
I want to thank everyone for their attention tonight. I know you're taking time out of your lives. Many diverse opinions up here. More about me is at paulforcalvert.info, paulforcalvert.info. I address the budget issues. I address the traffic issues. Those are all part of the campaign that I've proposed. One of the biggest challenges I see in this county is money. And with the Kerwin and all the other demands, with and Commissioner Hart's correct, it's not 20 million, I misspoke, but the money is ending with the pilot. So that's money that will have to be replaced or cut. And I think we have to do a better job managing money. We have to do a better job at managing our infrastructure, and we have to do a better job at maintaining the lifestyle that we've all been accustomed to. Thank you very much. Paul for Calvert. I appreciate your vote. Thank you.
And I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. When I retired from the Sheriff's Office, I was a captain. I worked in 3 different bureaus. I was in charge of budgeting in those bureaus, high-level decision-making, dealing with personnel matters. Again, I've lived in Calvert County my entire life. I truly care about Calvert County, its citizenry. I live on my family farm. I'll live on my family farm the rest of my life. Hopefully I die there. This is a great opportunity for me, I believe, to be able to continue serving the citizens of Calvert County. Please come out July 19th and vote. I look forward to serving you guys as your next county commissioner. Thank you.
I don't have big money backers. I don't have a county name. I don't own a business here. What I do have is roots in the working class community and working with people who are otherwise either willfully ignored by the system or fall through the cracks. My whole purpose for running is to give a voice to those people, because I am one of those people, and I feel like the time has come for us to have a seat at the table. You're not going to find any other Montagues really in this county, so I'm easy to find on Facebook. And there is my email, and I answer any questions you have through email or Facebook messaging personally. Everything you hear from me is my own voice. That's it. Thank you.
So I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. Thank you, DACA. Thank you. I've had the honor and the privilege of being your commissioner for 8 years. During that time, we've lowered the tax rate, not by myself, it takes a group, 3 times. We have the best credit rating that is possible for 6 straight years. We've proven we know how to do a budget. We've proven we know how to take on the challenges. This is my home. I will die here. My family is here. My business is here. I can't imagine living anywhere else. And I promise you, if you like how you live here, then I'm your commissioner. If you don't like the way of life here, if you say, I wish it was the big city or whatever, then I'm not your guy. But this is home. In fact, to me, it's a little too fast sometimes. But I love Calvert's rural character. I will do everything humanly possible to maintain that and keep the life that we are used to living and we deserve and our children deserve. Thank you so much, and I hope to have your vote this year. Thank you.
Folks, I was a police officer for 34 years. I still currently serve. I've been coming to DACA all of that time, at least for the last 15 years, and I didn't come asking you for things. I came telling you things. I also serve on the Planning Commission. I'm involved in the community. That's what I do. That's what God built me for. Understand this, I don't have large tracts of land. I don't have special business interests. What I have is a love for this community because I care about it. I have spent 34 years chasing crooks and criminals out of this county to keep it safe. And I will not let our county be destroyed by too much growth. And I will not let this county get destroyed by too much crime. And I will ensure that our schools are the best that they can be and that our county government is the best that it can possibly be. I'm Steve Jones. I ask for your vote on the 19th of July. Thank you.
I love this county. I love the green corridor. I love the rolling hills. I don't want to see expansion with our town centers. I want to see them revitalized, but I don't want to see expansion. I don't think we need to spill over to the rural area. You can bet that I will stay with protecting that rural area. If you vote for me, you'll be getting somebody who not only cares about the county, but somebody who is very knowledgeable about the county system, budgets, cost studies, somebody who can really challenge the staff when they are bringing requests up to the commissioners. Thank you very much, and please vote for me, Tricia Powell. Thank you.
Thank you, DACA, for having us here. Thank you those for being here. And for those that are watching online, this wouldn't be me without saying please subscribe to our YouTube channel. I wanted to make a point abundantly clear. I've heard a lot of people sit there and talk about different divisions of our county government. And you know what? I've been here 10.5 months as a commissioner. Every single person in our county staff is exemplary. They're phenomenal people. They come into work, they love their job. Typically they work a lot, they work less here so they can stay here in the county, but we're working on fixing that. Our people and our staff are amazing people. If you need to blame people, blame commissioners, because we're the ones that make the rules and they carry them out. My family has been proud to call Calvert home. I humbly ask for your vote in the Republican primary this year for your District 2 commissioner. Thank you. Feel free to call me with any questions. I have my number available.
Again, thank you for this opportunity to speak to you this evening. If elected, I look forward to serving all citizens of Calvert County. I would be honored to have your support and your vote this July. Thank you.
We moved here almost 47 years ago for probably the same reason most of you have moved here, for a rural setting and a quality of life that can't be replicated, in my mind, anywhere else in the state of Maryland. We did not move here for high density. We did not move here for traffic snarls that took me 55 minutes to get down to Prince Frederick one Friday night from Dunkirk to Prince Frederick. We did not move here to have our children and grandchildren taught CRT under the guise of equity. We did not move here for polluted waters. We moved here for a quality of life to support our watermen, our fishermen, and other Calvert Countyans who moved here for the same reason we did. I am you. My name is Catherine Grasso. Vote for me on July 19th. Thank you very much for being here this evening.
I've had the honor of being in public service for 10 years now, 6 years on the school board. In my 6 years, never missing a meeting. Very committed to my job. When I got there, our employees were 5 steps behind, all of our employees. We got them all caught up on all 5 steps. When I got to the county employees were 3 steps behind. We got them all caught up and just approved 17% pay parity to bring them in line with the other surrounding counties. So I appreciate our county staff. We've received a AAA bond rating 6 years in a row, 3 of those in my tenure since I've been there. 2 years ago, I was in a near fatal car accident right here in Dunkirk. So I'm very familiar with the speeding issues we have and the traffic. In that time, I was the current president and never missed a meeting. I practically crawled to the next meeting because I'm committed to serving the people of Calvert County. I love this county. I want to continue to serve you, and I hope that I can continue to have your support. Thank you very much.
You learn with the last thing with Roberts and Evans' last name in the military, you're always last in things, right? You're always getting chosen last because alphabetical order. And I can sound like a broken record coming down through here telling you about how I love the county, and I've told you that. I've told you about my desire to serve. I've told you about my desire to help and my empathy, my compassion, my passion to see us and protect us here. I've talked about all those things. All I can do is give you my word, all right? That's what my word is, my bond when I give it to you. I will bring my integrity, listening to the community, and transparency to the commissioners. I will do my best to serve you, and I will always, always listen to what the residents want. Thank you.
Now, through my experience, whether it's volunteering or working, just regular work, being a dad, there's always 2 things that I see throughout all of the work that I do. And I'm constantly busy, doing my small business on the side, trying to go door to door to talk to everybody and get your opinions. But there are 2 types of people and 2 types of politicians. There are proactive and there are reactive. If you look at our current county commissioners, they only recently did that 17% adjustment for our police force. If you want a safe community, if you want safety, you need to have a fair salary for our workers. Our policemen, they deserve a fair salary, and they don't deserve it just now. They've deserved it for a long time. And I've been going door to door since October, making sure people know, regular people who don't understand these things, who don't know why we have such a high turnover rate. I've been going door to door, making sure they know. And I just want you to consider voting for me, someone who is proactive and not reactive, because I won't wait to do something like that to make this community safer. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's thank these candidates for giving us their time. I mean, that's 3 or 4 hours of their time they gave us, and they're all very, very busy. Now, let's thank you for being here. You are taking the time to learn the candidates, to learn the issues. And it's been said by several of the candidates up here, and they all agree. Get out and vote. Drag your neighbors, drag your families, drag your friends, drag your enemies. But get out and vote. I don't want to hear any complaints that, well, you didn't do something. Did you vote? No. I don't want to hear that. So get out and vote. I want to thank the DACA people personally. None of these questions are mine. These came from you. And I want to thank the people that helped put us together and, make them questions that we could ask up here. So again, we've got some time here. There are some campaign material in the back. You can still talk to the gentlemen and ladies here. Please do so. Thank you. That's all I have. We're going to put together the questions that we didn't have time to ask, and we will send them to the candidates. Hopefully we can get responses before the primary. Thank you again.